Welcome back to another episode of Plant-Based Dads. I'm Joey Troxel. I want to quick thank our PayPal and Patreon supporters and the people who just leave money in the comments. Without your support, we would not have this show. If you've ever thought about how can I help, how can I be part of the team, that's how you can help. You can be a financial supporter. There's a link below this video on how you can become part of the team. So it's 2025, January. It is a new year. You may have followed me last year. And if you have, then you know that in December of 2023, I went and saw a trainer and I just wasn't having any success with recomposition. I had lost some weight with the starch solution, but I really didn't look any different. I was a little thinner, but I just felt like I didn't really have any strength and all that. And I was doing that for a few years, and I went to see a trainer, and everything changed right there. I was on December 7th, 2023. We did a body composition. We took some scans. He made some suggestions, and we determined that I needed to change my diet and do a few things differently. So January 1st, 2024, I hit it. I started. I did a routine at the gym 3 to 4 days a week. I started with 3 days a week, and then about halfway through the year, I kicked it up to 4 days a week. I did a different split. I changed my diet. I was still a vegan, but I changed the amount of protein I was eating. I did a bunch of changes, and I look like a different person today. It's hard to see because I'm sitting down, but you can see here. Here's what I look like in December of 2023 and then December of 2024. It's a big change. I'm going to tell you about the 3 things I needed to do or that I did in order to get into shape. There were 3 essential changes I made to change the outcome of 2024. So it wasn't the same as every other year. So this video is all about getting fit for 2025 with these 3 essential steps right now. Let's get started. All right. So step number 1, if you're trying to lose body fat, let's say you're overweight, right? Which I think is where most of us are when we start down this path. There's very few of us who are really thin and are trying to add weight. If that's you, bless your heart, I envy you. That was not me, and that's nobody that I know, right? But if that's you, that's great. But most people are coming at this where they want to lose weight, and when they say they want to lose weight, they want to be a little smaller, and we have to be careful with that because we definitely don't want to just lose weight, because losing weight means taking the weight off however you can, and that could mean losing muscle, which is very possible, and that's kind of what happened on the starch solution. What you want to do is lose your body fat. I've done this before, but this is the very first place to go. All right, so in front of me, I'm at tdeecalculator.net. As you can see, I'm at my computer on this video. I have to be because I'm going to show you things on the internet. So this is just the best place for me. So my eyes are going to be like, the camera's right there, but there's nothing there for me to look at other than that, that little green dot. All the stuff's on the screen. So you're going to see me like moving around here. So I'm at the TDEE calculator. That is the total daily energy expenditure calculator. And I think it's TDEE calc. It is tdeecalculator.net. And that will take you right here. The first thing I needed to do, or the trainer needs to do, and the first thing that you're going to need to do is get in a calorie deficit. And the way we figure out what a calorie deficit is you start answering the questions here. Here I'm putting my gender as male. You could pick female if that's you, which is most of my audience. My age right now is 60. Currently, right? Currently, it'll be interesting to see what this says now because it's been a year since I did this. Currently, my weight is 158 pounds, right? I am, and we'll go into another whole thing about how short people are at a disadvantage, but I am 5'2" on a good day, right? And, activity, I do go to the gym 4 days a week, all right? And the latest thing I'm doing now is in my classroom. I don't sit down in my classroom, so I don't even have a chair. I gave it to one of the students to sit at. I just walk the whole day in my classroom. I'm constantly moving around. So now I'm wearing a weighted vest to kind of burn some more calories. But I'm going to put sedentary, like an office job. All right. Now, the body fat you can put in if you know it, but if you don't know it, then just leave it out. And it comes out pretty close either way because it runs an algorithm based on your age, your height, and your weight. And I'm going to do calculate. And here's what this thing's going to tell me. My maintenance calories, those are my calories if I'm trying to keep the weight I'm at, are 1,687 calories a day. And the number under it is really important. It's 11,810 a week. You're going to want to write that down somewhere. All right. Actually, don't write this down somewhere, but you're going to want to make note of this. My BMI score, my body mass index is 28.9. And This is all great if you're trying to maintain. You see where it says maintain right here? If you're trying to maintain the body that you have now. No one on this journey is trying to maintain the body, the body they have now. Notice over here, this is ridiculous. An ideal body weight for a man of 5'2" should be 118 pounds to 130 pounds. My ass weighs more than 118 pounds. That's absolutely absurd. So this doesn't take muscle into consideration at all. So you got to just kind of skip that. Now, if you move down, all right, you start seeing some of the things you should eat here. You'll notice here that it says these macronutrients, the macronutrients right here, and macronutrients are your calories, your carbohydrates, your protein, and your fat. In order to keep your weight right here, if you're doing a moderate carb, diet, then you want 127 grams of protein, 66 grams of fat, and 148 grams of carbs. If you're doing a lower carb, like a keto thing, then you're doing 169 grams of protein, 75 grams of fat, and 85 grams of carbs. And if you're doing a higher carb, which really kind of is my whole life, right? Then you want 127 grams of protein, 37 grams of fat, and 211 grams of carbs. So you can see they've worked this out. But this is all for maintenance for 1,687 calories a day. And if you break up your calories based on how many grams you're getting from these things, you should wind up in these splits here. This is a 40-20. This is a 40-40-20 split. This is a 30-20-50. And this is a 30-35-35. But we're not interested in maintaining what we have. At no point in my life have I ever wanted to maintain the weight I have, right? We're interested in cutting. So see where it says cutting right here? Right now it says 1687 for my calories. I'm going to click cutting. All right. In order to do, I would say in a standard cut, you're dropping 500 calories a day. All right. So now look at the number that puts me at 1187. People are going to tell you you should never have less than 1,500 calories a day. Don't ever listen to those people. Every single person is different. If I had put in the same weight in the same age, but made myself 6'2", this would be a completely different story. But because I'm short, I literally have less muscle mass on than Tim has at 5'11" or however tall he is, right? So we could eat the same thing, but his calorie intake will require much more calories to sustain his body than mine would, just because he's carrying more muscle. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit here. But it shows right here that my calories are 1187 a day. That's what I need to lose weight. And here's how I get them. You've got the moderate carb, lower carb, then higher carb. Since this is not a low carb channel, I think keto is a waste of time. There may be some benefits in the beginning, but the fat content and all that is just going to, clog your arteries, right? And the body runs on carbohydrates. You need carbohydrates just to breathe. So I would say do the moderate carb or the higher carb plan here, right? So if I didn't know any better and I didn't speak to a doctor or a trainer and all that, I would say to myself, hey, look, I need to get 89 grams of protein over here, 26 grams of 26 grams of fat, and 148 grams of carbohydrates. On the higher side, you could get 119 grams of protein, right? So protein plays a big part about this, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But going forward at this point, I now know that I need to eat 1187 calories or less every day, or I'm not losing weight. Well, this is with a 500 calorie deficit. If you have like a 100 calorie deficit, you'll still lose weight. It just won't be, enough in a week to really make a difference. All right. So in my mind, I would go with this 90 to 120 grams of protein, and I'd probably do the 120, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. So now I know what I need. I need 1187 calories a day. That, even if I don't eat this whole thing, this protein mix, this fat and the carb, if I don't even look at that, if I just do 1187 calories a day, I'm going to lose weight. All right. My body will be forced to burn something because it won't have enough calories to sustain my current mass. Now, where it gets those, what it burns, that's a different story. But you will lose weight no matter what. So 1187 is my number here. And again, this is the TDEE, Total Daily Energy Expenditure Calculator. You can go to this. Now, it's going to change based on how much exercise you do and your current weight and your height and all that. Okay, but this is for me. All right, so one of the things I want to go back to here is up here where I was doing my maintenance calories, that was 1687 for a week, 11,810. If I come back down here to my cutting calories at 1187 times 7 is 8309 for the week. So here's how this works. Oh, you might be more hungrier some days than others. People talk about where they'll starve themselves for a day or two and then they'll have a refeed day where they stuff themselves with way more calories than they need. All of that is fine, assuming you don't go over the weekly calories. So and Weight Watchers did this also. They gave you, your points and your weekly points and how many points you should have, under in a week. This is the way they all do it, right? This is how you figure it out. Your intake calories and all that, you try not to track just day to day because you may eat a meal on your calorie plan that you're within calories, you're 1187. You may eat your meal late at night, and the next morning you step on the scale and you weigh yourself and you've gained weight. Well, of course, you haven't like pooped or processed that or anything like that. So of course you gained weight, but you really haven't because at the end of the week, your body will process all that and that will be all done. So that weekly number is really important because you can change your calories day to day as long as you don't go over that number for the week. And for this one, it's 8309 if we were to stay with this 1187. So now you know what you need to eat as far as calories and that's the number you're looking for. You, of course, want to try and eat as clean as possible. So, if you're a vegan or plant-based, then you want to try and eat as much of that as whole food plant-based as possible, right? A lot of vegetables and all that. But, the sad reality is that there are very few things you can eat as a whole food plant-based vegan on 1,100 calories a day that'll give you 120 grams of protein, or that'll even give you 80 grams of protein. You'll have to put in some tofu, which is not whole food. You'll have to have some TVP, some tempeh, soy curls, or seitan. Like that stuff is just going to have to be incorporated into your diet. Otherwise, you won't get enough protein. And I'll talk about what happens with that in a little bit. I really love seitan because seitan is so high in protein and so low in calories. So while you're thinking about this, right, while you're saying to yourself, hey, here's how many calories I have a week, you're going to want to start planning food for the week. I've always said this on every food plan I've ever done on this channel, meal prep on Sunday nights for the week. Nothing keeps you on track better than that. You see me do plenty of meal prep videos, plenty of Sunday night videos where we're planning for the week. That is essential. When you go to open the fridge at 5 o'clock on a Tuesday and you don't have anything planned, you're like, well, what am I waiting? Just looking for answers. It's never going to end well. I mean, it just doesn't. You'll eat something you're not supposed to, and now you're off plan, and you're going to feel bad. And now you're like, well, why bother? I've already ruined it. I'll just come back on it next Monday. It's over now. Don't put yourself through all that, right? Have a plan. Make sure you're meal planning. All right. Make your food on Sunday. All right. So the number one essential things you can do right now is figure out your TDEE and your BMR and what your calories are for the day. That's number one. Number two, you're going to have to start tracking your calories. And I know people are going to be like, I don't track calories. I'm not going to track calories. Well, then you've already lost. You're just starting out in a position where you're just driving blind. You're not going to be successful if you don't track your calories. And believe me, I was on the Starch Solution. I did whole food plant-based. Eat as much as you want. You can't gain weight on whole food plant-based. I'm here to tell you, that's just not true. I absolutely did gain weight on whole food plant-based. I ate a lot of potatoes. I ate a lot of rice, right? I ate a lot of avocado. I ate a lot. I could put away thousands of calories of fruit. That's just not true. If you're a little guy like me, 5'2", and your BMR is really low, even whole food plant-based, it's going to cause you to gain weight. You are not the same as everyone else. Your numbers are completely different. You have to track your calories, and there's no other way around it. Right here on the screen, I'm using Chronometer. I'm not, sponsored by Chronometer or anything, but it's a free app that you can use, and I'm going to show you how to set it up. So you're going to have to create an account, and here's what you'll have right here, Chronometer. And there is a phone app too, which is really nice because you can scan the things you're going to eat. Now, you want to set Chronometer up to make sure that you're getting the numbers that you need. And you can do that by clicking here and going to More and going to Targets and Profile. So if you click that, you put in your birthday, you put in your height, you put in your weight, all that stuff. I'm going to put in 1687 for the energy burned. So by showing the 1687 and 1187, it'll show a 500 calorie deficit. But the important part is down here, the energy target. All right, so we're going to make this 1187 because that was the number that they told me to do on the TDEE. And I'm going to come down here and try and change this so everything matches and I get my numbers correct. And here I go. So I'm using that 119 grams of protein from that one column, right? So that would be 40% of my calories of the 1187 calories coming from protein. And then 34% of my calories would be the carbohydrates, and 26% of my calories would be from fat, right? So now I'm going to go to diary, right? And you'll notice here in diary, here we go. I've got a blank day of food. And here, 1687, which is what TDEE told me. And here's what I'm actually planning on eating today, 1187. And if you notice, if I eat 1187 and my body needs 1687 to run every day with my current weight, I'm going to have a calorie deficit of 500. My body's going to be forced to get that fuel from stored resources, either fat or muscle. The reason we're having higher protein is because protein preserves muscle. Muscle needs protein. So by having enough protein, that will make sure, or that will kind of coerce the body to not take the muscle to burn and to burn the stored fat. That's what we're doing. All right, so breakfast happens, right? So I'm coming over to breakfast here. And if you're using the computer like I am, you can right click on breakfast and do add food. Now, let's say I'm going to have a smoothie, right? And I'm going to put in strawberries. Strawberries are really good because they're so low in calories. You can do a full cup of strawberries for 50 calories. Like, that's amazing, right? And then let's say I'm going to add some cashew milk. So I'm going to put in this touch of almond cashew milk that I always use. And I like it because I can do a whole cup for 25 calories, right? So that's really low. And then let's say I'm going to add some protein powder. So I'm going to do Earth Chimp organic protein powder. And let's say I'm going to do vanilla because I'm loving it, right? And I'm going to do 2 scoops right there. And let's say I'm going to do like flaxseed. So I do flaxseed and I type that out and see where it says flaxseeds. I highlight that. And how many tablespoons did I do? 1 tablespoon. Well, let's say I did 3 tablespoons. That's 100 calories, but it's almost 4 grams of protein, right? So far I'm at, and this is how I plan my breakfast. I start putting these things in, and when I get to a number I want, I'm good. Now, one thing I might do is go, wow, this is 300 calories and only 26 grams of protein. I really try and shoot for the 1 and 10, the 1 gram of protein per 10 calories. So I really want this to be at 30.2. So I may come over here to the protein mix and go, instead of doing 1 times 2 scoops, I may do 1.5 times 2 scoops, right? And now I'm at 362 calories to 36 grams of protein, right? That's exactly what I want. So I'm going to do 1.5 times 2 scoops or 3 scoops of protein powder. There's my breakfast right there. And that's what I'm going to have. I'm going to plan my whole day like this, all right? I'm going to go to lunch. And here's something really cool. Let's say for lunch, you're going to have one of my recipes. Maybe, and I do this every day, I jar overnight oats. Maybe you're doing Joey Troxel's chocolate PB high protein overnight oats. The reason that would show up right there is because you might be friends with me on Chronometer. If you send me a friend request on Chronometer, then I'll of course accept, then you have access to all my recipes. And here's what's really cool. You made my recipe, right? And you put it in, and the full recipe, because the overnight oats is a full recipe, you click that, and it adds it right to it with all the macros and everything ready to go. If you followed my exact recipe, then you're good. And you can find my recipe by right-clicking here and just do view, edit, select the recipe. And you'll see like, oh, listen, that sounds good. I just saw it in here. I don't even know what that is. Oh, look, here's how he makes it. I put in 1/2 a cup of rolled oats. I put in 2 tablespoons of the organic peanut butter powder. I put in half a banana. I put in 2 scoops of protein powder. I put in 1 cup of almond milk. And the whole thing comes out to 402.5 calories with almost 34 grams of protein. Depending on what milk you use, the protein will be different, right? So I'm going to go back to diary, and you can see that you have one of my recipes in there, or maybe you just did what I just did before that. You started putting stuff in. I'm going to put in some lettuce. I'll scan that. I'm going to put in, some nuts. I'll scan that. All right. So there's your day right here. And I do this the day before what I'm going to eat. I pre-track, right? Then I'm going to work out today. So I'm going to have a pre-workout. A lot of times I like to have a watermelon. So fruit is very easy to digest. It's water-based. It's perfect. So I'm going to do watermelon. And the great thing about watermelon is you can have 300 grams of watermelon, like 3 cups of it for 100 calories, 90 calories. And that's fantastic. And as I'm doing this, notice my numbers are starting to fill in. Right now, I'm at 854 calories, 71 grams of protein, 115 grams of carbs, and 22 grams of fat. All right. I'm already over on my carbs, but I really don't care about carbohydrates. I'm a high carb eater. All right. So then after I get home from the gym, I might want to have another smoothie. So I'm going to have some Earth Chimp. You could have something else, but Earth Chimp smoothie here. So I'm just going to do some Earth Chimp powder because I love chocolate with banana after the gym. I actually usually do two scoops to 4 scoops of protein powder. And then again over here, I'm going to do add food. And I'm going to have, well, here's something you can do that's really cool. I'm going to have that milk again, this touch of almond. So I can right click and copy selected item, come over here to post workout and paste, right? And now I've got the almond milk and the shake. And I'm going to right click over here and do add food. And I'm going to type in banana and banana raw. And I'm going to do half a banana, which is about 50 grams. All right. All right. So here I am. I'm at 112 grams of protein. I need 119. I'm at 1,163 calories, right? So I don't have much room for dinner. So do you see how this works here? I kind of have to cut back a little bit on something here if I want to do this. So I'm going to go up to this Earth Chimp protein powder and change this to 1 times 2 scoops. All right. And that's going to lower my protein to 92, but it's going to lower my calories to 1043. So now I have room for dinner. All right. So again, it's best to plan this the day before. And then I'm going to come down to dinner. I'm going to add some food. And I'm going to use my seitan recipe. You can type in Joey Troxel, and all of my recipes will come up if we're friends. If we're not friends on Chronometer, you're not going to see any of this, all right? And I'm going to grab my easy high protein seitan. And let's say I made that, right? Because it's an amazing recipe. And I'm going to do a half a serving here. So I'm going to do 0.5 because I don't want a whole serving, right? And let's say I'm going to have some broccoli with it. So I heat up some broccoli in the microwave. So I've got the Kirkland frozen broccoli, right? The organic broccoli florets. I do that. And let's say I do 2 cups of that. Well, yeah, let's say I do 2 cups of that. Notice it's 6 grams of protein. Broccoli is high in protein for a vegetable, for a non-starchy vegetable. I'm at 1175, right? My goal is 1187. I'm at 112 grams of protein. So maybe I come over here and on the broccoli and I do where it says 2 cups, I change that to 3 cups. And that puts me at 1205 with 115 grams of protein. That's pretty close, right? Maybe I'll do 2.5, all right? Ideally, I'm at 1190. That's where I want to be, 114 grams of protein. I was shooting for 119. I could do something a little bit more where I could go into the flaxseed here, and I can do maybe 3.5, all right? And now I'm at 1208, 114 grams of protein. I think that's pretty close. So, I mean, you can play around with this back and forth. I mean, 1187 is not a lot of calories to work with here. But I was able to get myself 4 meals, well, 5 if you count my pre-workout. My breakfast, my lunch, my pre-workout, my post-workout smoothie, and a dinner, right, for about 1,208 calories, right, which is really close to the 1187. I've planned my full day of food, and I've gotten almost all of my protein, 114.6 out of the 119. That's really good, all right? So that's how you track calories. Now, if you have the app on your phone, you can just do this on your phone. I'm not a phone person. That little screen will give me a nervous breakdown. So, but it's a cool thing is you're putting in like the ingredients, like the bag of protein powder and all that. You hit scan food and it scans it and it drops it in, and you don't need to like go looking for it. So what you want to do is use a tracking app. Focus on the 4 macros for now, and then take supplements. Like, am I getting everything I need, like my vitamin B and all that? Probably not, right? I'm just having a lot of protein powder and some seitan. So I'll have my vitamins, right? One of my sponsors, Compliments, has an amazing assortment of vegan vitamins and supplements that you can take to make sure that you meet all of your daily requirements. And if you use my link in the description below, you can save 15% at checkout with that link and the code plant-based dad. So give them a shot. So in the beginning, start with that. And then as you get used to this, Then you can start changing your diet to go, okay, in that smoothie, I'm going to put spinach. So, I get more iron. I'm going to put, like, you can start changing these things to work within your numbers. But to get started, just try and make the numbers for the first few weeks. And then you can start changing all that. Just concentrate on the macros. It's important to make sure that you're getting the right amount of calories when it's this low. If you're, some people have a cutting calorie goal of like 2,800 calories or 3,000 calories. They're cutting with that. Those people are gifted. They're tall, they've got a lot of muscle tone, and they can afford to not track because chances are they're not going to eat over 3,000 calories in a day, right? 1,187 calories, you're easily going to eat over that if you're not tracking. So if you're smaller or have a lower BMR, this is everything, right? If Tim, my husband, he's much taller, if he goes over his calories by 200 calories, it doesn't even matter. If I go over 200 calories on this or even 500, I'm not losing weight. So each person is different depending on your size. That comes into play. So you must track your calories if you want to lose weight in 2025. There's just no way around it. One of the other reasons we're eating a lot of protein on this is because it costs your body calories to burn this food up. And here's the deal. If you eat protein, whatever the calories are, it costs your body 30% of those calories to digest that protein. So let's look at the example here we have with the protein mix. The protein mix, 1.52 scoops of it, so 3 scoops, is 180 calories. So that 180 calories, 30% of that, 54 calories, will be used to burn, just to digest it. It'll be burned for that. So you're going to end up with 124 calories or whatever it is from that protein mix, not 180, right? Do you see that? That's called the thermogenic effect of food. And protein is the most expensive in calories for the body to burn. If you're about to eat something and it's carbohydrate based, then carbohydrates cost the body a lot less to burn. I think it's like 10% or maybe even less. So, if you got 180 calories in carbohydrates, you're going to get, 18 of those calories will be used to burn it. And the rest of it, you're going to be stuck with. And fat, it's even less. Your body will burn fat with like very little effort. It's like 2% of those calories get used to burn the fat. So that's why people tell you all the time protein, protein, protein. And for years, I was like, I don't need protein. I'm good. I get enough protein from vegetables. And I do. I get enough protein to live, but not to build muscle, right? Not to sustain muscle during a cut. And if I'm going to eat something and I don't want to gain weight from the calories, I want something protein based because of the thermogenic effect of food. So keep that in mind for sure. So remember, having more protein during a cut causes the body to leave the muscle alone and burn the fat. That's very important. You don't want to burn up your muscle. All right, so first 2 things. You want to do a calorie deficit and you want to track your meals. I've showed you how to do that. This is how Chronometer works. The third essential step you need to do right now to get fit in 2025, and what I had to do, you have to do resistance training. So let me just tell you that I do not do cardio. Most bodybuilders don't do cardio. Cardio burns calories, just like resistance training, but studies have shown that people who burn calories doing a lot of cardio eat it right back. Whereas studies have shown that people who burn those same amount of calories from resistance training, and I say resistance because it could be bands, it could be machines, it could be any of that stuff, they don't eat the calories back. All right. So a lot of times, like for me, if I ran, not that I could run, but if I was going to run like 5 miles or something and I came home and I'd be like, I'm going to eat everything I can. I'm so hungry. Whereas after the gym, right, I burned 700 calories this morning. I just come home and be like, all right, I need a protein shake. And that's my regular meal. I don't eat extra calories. So that whole study works for me, and it's true. Resistance training also builds muscle, and that's important for BMR because the more muscle you have, the larger your BMR is, and that's your calories just burning stuff, sitting and doing nothing, right? People gifted with a higher BMR don't really have to do much. It's just their genetics. They can just burn stuff very efficiently, and they don't really have to exercise much. I did no cardio in 2024, and of course, I look completely different. So I'm going to go back to the TDE calculator page for a minute, to the very beginning page. Right here, there's a little graph right here. Let me see if I can blow this up. You see here where it says how the total daily energy expenditure is calculated. 70% of what you burn doing nothing is based on your metabolic rate. That is, that metabolic rate comes from the rate of your metabolism. And a big part of that comes from how much muscle you're carrying around. This is why, if you're taller than a short person, just because you're bigger, you have a bigger frame, you have more muscle, right? Versus someone smaller like me, I'm a much smaller frame than Tim. Even though I'm muscular and he may not be, I've got less muscle on me because I'm so much smaller. So my BMR is much lower because the amount of muscle I have is so much less than his. So if we're eating the same exact meal and the meal is 1,600 calories, let's say we went all out for Mexican food, right? We got beans and rice and guac and all that stuff, right? And it's a 1,600 calorie meal, and that's all we ate that day. We didn't have anything else, right? I'm not losing weight. I might even gain weight, and he's losing weight. He's at a 500 calorie deficit because of that. Eating the same thing, two people, does not have the same effect. So many people comment on these videos and they're like, just do what I did. Here's what I did. No, you're not me. You're completely different. You have a much higher basal metabolic rate. You cannot listen to people telling you that, well, this person did that. For years, I compared myself to YouTubers online and couldn't understand why they had such success and I did not. So I'm going to do a whole video about this, but I'm at a disadvantage because of my height. I'm not saying that's everyone out there, but if you're like 5'2", you're right, and like me, then, and you know, in your 50s or whatever, or 60s, then you don't have a high BMR, right? Then 10% comes from the thermo effect of food, and only 20% of your daily burn for calories comes from physical activity. So you have to work out. Today, I went to the gym and burned 700 calories off. I usually do a walk in the afternoon that burns about, I don't know, 200 calories. Then I burn about 300 or 400 calories just during the day, during housework. So that's, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's about 1,400 calories. Now, if I didn't do any of that, then I would only be burning about what I do normally, just walking around, about 20%. But because, I've got, 1,400 calories, that's almost as much as my BMR, right? So I have to work hard every day to watch my calories. That burn ratio, I don't necessarily just care about what I've taken in food. I'm looking at that burn number on Chronometer, and I want that to be, 2,500, somewhere around there, because that'll really help me, that calorie deficit, it'll really bring it up there. Resistance training is everything, especially as you get older. Like, you need to do some resistance training to keep your muscles and joints active. If you don't use it, you lose it. I know so many people that are my age that are dropping dead. They look like crap, right? They're 60 years old. And I'm like, holy smoke. I don't want that to happen to me. I want to be active and moving and have muscle tone well into my 80s. I want to look good, right? I want to be able to be there for my son when he gets married and all that stuff, right? I want to see my grandkids. There's so much I want to do. Muscle is the key to health. You have to have muscle. And of course, you got to have fiber and all that stuff. That's why we want you to do plant-based. But for now, just get started on getting the calories in. All right, 3 essential steps you can do right now to get fit for 2025. We went over them. 1, calorie deficit. Got to have a calorie deficit or you're not losing body fat. There's no way around it. Number 2, track your calories. I know you don't want to track. You hate tracking. You don't have to track. Well, you've already lost if you refuse to do that. Sorry. Number 3, you got to have some sort of resistance training. Doesn't have to be a gym. My favorite place to work out is right upstairs in my little home gym area. It's not extravagant or anything, but I've got bands, got a few dumbbells, I got a bench, I got a TV where I put on my favorite videos. I'll watch YouTube while I'm working out, and before I know it, I spent an hour up there. So I absolutely love it. That's the plan. You can do this. I did this. I'm telling you, I spent years. If you follow the show, I spent years trying to change my path, and I finally did. I can't wait to see what happens this year. I'm really excited about it. Click that like button. Show us some love. Click on the subscribe button. Click on that bell. You get notified every time we have a new video, usually every Tuesday. And leave a comment below. Are you planning on changing your life in 2025? Have you made changes earlier and you're just in the middle of it? Do you need some inspiration to get started? Join the Facebook group, Plant Based Dads. It's all about high protein, low calorie living. We're doing a challenge every month, a tracking challenge just to get people used to tracking. Put a link right here. Well, it's not actually a link, but I'll put a picture of it right here. And on Facebook, you just look for the name of the group, join, and I'll let you in. All right. Here's hoping that it's an amazing year for all of us. We'll see you next time.